important to keep. Why should you do research? So there's a lot of potential benefits that come with participating in research. I'm going to be talking a lot about our specific opportunities and programs that we offer in the Office of Undergraduate Research. That being said, these benefits aren't limited to our specific programs. They're really benefits that can happen. There's lots of other opportunities across campus, beyond campus, for you to pursue your interest in research. And these benefits can accord with all of those different things, not just within our office. So as I mentioned a bit ago, one of the benefits of conducting research is that you're creating and sharing knowledge. So that's a really exciting and empowering aspect of it for certain. Another really important piece is that you're building relationships with mentors. What we talk about a lot in undergraduate research is the relationships that you're building with professors, with faculty mentors, but certainly you're also building relationships with peer mentors, with mentors who might be knowledge keepers in a given community, with other staff and members of the campus community, certainly librarians if you're working closely there. So there's a big network of mentorship that you're building, just like as you're learning in CASP 101 this week, of course. A mentor doesn't have to be one singular person. It's actually really about a community of intellectual support. Many research opportunities allow you the option to get paid and or potentially receive academic credit. So this is another important thing to think about, that the work that you do as a researcher is work. It's intellectual and scholarly work, and it is work. And so there's many opportunities that compensate you for that. Particularly right now, we have our ongoing summer research program, which many of you might be interested in looking ahead to next academic year. And for those programs, we offer a stipend, which is essentially your salary for conducting that research and academic work. So it's a great way, if maybe you have other things ahead of you, maybe you're looking ahead to graduate school. Graduate school offers similar compensation in many programs where you're paid to be a student. CASP, of course, has great financial aid and funding opportunities. So research is another opportunity to get some of that financial support, as well as independent study or academic credit as well. As I just mentioned, research is also a great way to prepare for graduate school. Build your resume, not just in a way of adding lines to your resume, but really having skills and specific transferable knowledge that will benefit you no matter what professional or educational path you pursue. Certainly part of that is critical thinking and communication skills. You get a lot of practice with problem solving, with public speaking, with writing, all really important no matter what you might pursue. You get an opportunity to cultivate community with your peers. Many research programs have a cohort model, which is, of course, I imagine very similar to CASP as well, in the sense that you're not just working in isolation on your project, but you're also connecting with other people and sharing practices and information, which is really exciting as well. Traveling to conferences is a piece of research. Of course, right now, a lot of that travel recently has been virtual travel, but nevertheless, we hope in the near future, when it's safe to do so again, that there will be more traveling in person to conferences. And certainly in the interim, virtual conferencing as well is great experience and opportunities to connect with new and different people. Again, the public speaking piece, that also connects up with conferences. And again, just developing that broad sense of a network that certainly is rooted at your time at UC San Diego, but also isn't limited by that, right? And that you're potentially forming relationships with people at all other institutions, other communities. So lots of different potential reasons why research could be enticing to you. In terms of a general question, who should do research, right? Really everybody. Any of you who are here with us right now or watching this recording in the future who are interested in intellectual questions, you have a passion for knowledge, research is for you, right? There shouldn't be limitations on that. So to get more into detail on that, there are research opportunities available in all fields for students in all majors, all years, and students of all citizenship statuses. So certainly some of our opportunities in our office do have certain citizenship requirements that require that students be either US citizens or permanent residents. However, we also have very many programs that are open to undocumented students, to international students that don't really take citizenship status into account at all in the decision-making process. So just keep that in mind, that that should not be a limitation on your ability to access research as an undergraduate student at UC San Diego. Here we have some photos of recent student spotlights, students who are sharing their stories about how they came into research, what their projects are. You can find all of those on our website as well. So that's part of the homework assignment I mentioned earlier for all of you to spend at least 10 minutes, hopefully more, on our website after this session so you can learn about these scholar stories. And some examples of projects that students have conducted over the years. This is just sort of to give you a general sense of the spread of topics and of different interests. So students have analyzed the impacts of healthcare disparities upon Black women's ability to access healthcare. Students have produced local history podcasts. Students have investigated the molecular basis of Alzheimer's disease, written experimental poetry. So this is an important thing to highlight, that it's not only, what we might define traditionally as research, but also creative writing, creative art, and all kinds of production. That's also kind of falls under this broad umbrella category of how we might define research. Students have examined the motor functions of children who are born premature. Students have studied the impacts of climate change upon Arctic ice. And students have analyzed Latinx families' role in nourishing educational resilience. So this is just a small sliver of all the projects. Another really great resource on our website that I'll spotlight and I can share the link to in the chat later on during the Q&A is we also have an annual research directory that lists the names of all the scholars who have conducted projects over the past year, the topics, the titles of their projects, which professors they've worked with, if they presented at research conferences. So that's a great place too. That whole document is text searchable. So if you have an interest in particular keywords or fields, you can search through that document. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages long, but it's a great starting place as well if you are somebody who's interested in pursuing research, but you're not quite sure how to get started. You're not sure how to sort of channel your broader research interest into a particular topic or set of questions. So these, we like to share recent projects, not just with the sort of, implicit suggestion that you should do, these projects that have been done, but more so these projects can inspire your own project, however you would like to approach it. So on that notion, how do I pick a topic, right? And this could be a whole session unto itself. And this is also part of what we're here in the Office of Undergraduate Research to help with if you're at that very early stage. But I like to offer these as kind of provocative questions. So maybe, you might want to screenshot this or write some of these down, take some notes right now, just to come back to this for a little writing exercise for yourself in the future. So you can ask yourself things like, what excites you most? What's something, that you want to really spend, a significant portion of your academic time doing, like almost like it's a full course unto itself. What's something that makes you angry or something you would like to change? That's a really inspirational starting point for a lot of projects, because a student might identify something that they are critical of and think can be approached in a different way. So that can be a very powerful starting place. What's something that you'd like to create? Something that you like spending your time doing? You can think about major trends in various fields of academia, industry, or in the media. What are sort of buzzwords or topics that you're hearing a lot about that either you do or don't understand a lot and you want to spend some time studying that more? And also a really great starting point is things that you're studying in your classes. So if you have courses, particularly looking ahead to the coming academic year, and there's a certain unit on a topic that really piques your interest, but you don't have sufficient time to delve very deeply into that topic, a research project can be a great way to sort of pick up wherever that topic was left off in that course and sort of spend a lot more time and really getting into that a little bit deeper. So these are some sort of starting questions and inspiration for thinking about topics that you might pursue on your own. Another big piece of this is finding faculty mentors. So with most of our programs that we offer in the Office of Undergraduate Research, really all of them involve working closely with a professor as your faculty mentor on that project. Some of our opportunities do require that you identify who that mentor would be in the application stage of the process, so much earlier on. And then some of them you don't need to apply with the mentor, and then a mentor is assigned to you. So it depends on the program. But either way, it's definitely a good practice to get into developing connections with professors, with other sort of staff and faculty around campus. And these are some tips about how you might do that. Again, this could be, and has been in the past, a whole session, a whole hour-long workshop on its own, but I wanted to give you all some key tips and then also encourage you to certainly visit our website where we have a resource module all about finding mentors, how to sort of reach out and contact them. And also, again, feel free to make use of our office staff as another place to, if you're feeling stuck in this process, definitely let us know. Some general tips. Reach out to professors with whom you have taken or are taking courses. So again, this goes back to that last piece of the brainstorming topics. If there is a professor with whom you're taking a class and either, they're very inspirational, perhaps in the way that they teach, perhaps in the content that they teach, perhaps in terms of how their personal experience and different intersections of identity overlapped and connect with yours. Those are great starting places to certainly connect with professors during office hours. Of course, a lot of those may still be virtual in the months ahead, but don't hesitate. I think it's something that many of us in many different parts of the university encourage students to do all the time, but it really is a very important factor in your overall trajectory to sort of make those connections. Don't feel like you even need to go in necessarily with a very firm and set agenda. Just if you have an intellectual curiosity that overlaps with something that your professor does, use that as an opening for conversation. Reach out to them, email them, connect with them in their office hours, schedule an appointment. Professors, clearly love the work that they do and the topics that they study. And so use that as an opening point for conversation and for exploring your own interests a little bit further as well. Maybe if you haven't yet identified those professors whom you've already met, you might search the course catalog and departmental websites for faculty members who teach courses that you hope to soon take. And also every departmental website has a full listing of all the professors who teach in that area, often a breakdown of their subspecializations within particular fields or methods. So that's just a great place to sort of start mapping out who are the people that you hope to meet in a scholarly sense during your time at UC San Diego. There are also some great databases and portals for identifying other opportunities and mentors. One is the Research Experience and Applied Learning, or REAL portal, REAL, and that URL is listed right here, real.ucsd.edu. And then, of course, Handshake, which some of you may already be familiar with, but that's another place where faculty members often post opportunities, especially those who are working in larger collaborative research groups, so often in the sciences, but not exclusively to STEM fields. So you'll see, people listing things that they're working on and that you might be interested in as well. All these are different approaches, but no matter what, once you've identified a possible mentor, the best thing to do is to reach out via email, formally introduce yourself, explain a little bit about your research interests in relationship to their work, and request whether they would be willing to further discuss the possibility of serving as a mentor. So in that sense, you can also use some of our applications, and I'll talk more about our specific programs in just a moment, but really the application process itself can be the sort of catalyst or the occasion for you to reach out and to make this sort of formal introduction and request, right? You don't need to wait for an application to do that. You can certainly feel empowered to do that at any stage to build these relationships. But sometimes the applications actually serve a dual role in that sense, right? On one hand, you're applying and hoping to be a part of a certain program or opportunity. But on the other hand, just the application itself is the context through which you are often sort of invited to make these contacts with professors and get to know people a little bit better. And one piece that always comes up when we talk about this is the intimidation factor that can be associated with reaching out to faculty members. And so I like to always sort of share this, certainly faculty members are busy. You are all busy, right? Everybody's busy. That's kind of like, it levels the playing field in a certain way, right? There can be that intimidation factor. You might feel unsure about approaching somebody. But most often, professors are really, really excited to work with enthusiastic scholars who share their intellectual interests. So, as much as you might veer on the side of the pessimistic and assume, oh, if I reach out, I either won't get a response or I'll get a negative response. I would actually really encourage you to reframe it and to think about it's actually more likely that you could get a very positive and enthusiastic response. And also to sort of empathetically think about yourself in the shoes of your professor, right? Some of you may be professors yourself one day in the future. Many of you have already held mentorship roles towards others. And I think it's important to think about when you've been in that position or where you envision yourself in that position of somebody reaching out, asking for that kind of support. A lot of times you're really excited and it's wonderful to get that sort of outreach. So just keep that in mind as well, right? It's not always in a negative framework of that person's too busy or doesn't have time. A lot of times they're really excited to hear from you and want to work with you. Here, I just want to give a quick promo of our various programs, just to give you a sense of the breadth of opportunities that we offer in the Office of Undergraduate Research. I won't be able to speak about each of these in depth, but this is an invitation again to spend more time learning about each of them on our website. Certainly reach out to the program coordinators with any questions. Our academic year programs include the California Alliance for Minority Participation or CAMP program, the McNair Scholars Program, which is particularly focused on recruiting students who have been historically excluded from academia to who are interested in pursuing a PhD in the future. So if you're interested, or even if you aren't sure what a PhD is, but you might potentially want to explore that a little bit more, read some more about the McNair Scholars Program and consider applying. The Triton Research and Experiential Learning Scholars or TRELS program. That's a program that I coordinate, and I'll mention something else about that in just a moment. And the Faculty Mentor program. So these are some of our academic year offerings. And then right now we have our ongoing summer research program, which is really an umbrella program. And then all of these that are listed fall under that umbrella. It's really a sort of shared united experience. There are some different criteria in terms of eligibility and in terms of the focus of each of the particular programs. But overall, all of these are run as a sort of shared experience where you devote 8 or 10 weeks of your summer to exploring a topic more in depth, getting a lot of training and professional development. Each of these programs comes with a stipend, which, as I mentioned, is sort of like your salary for participating in that summer. So again, the CAMP program is offered in the summer. The McNair program has a summer element to it. The TRELS program also offers a summer option. We also have the Genentech Scholars Program, the UC Scholars Program, and the Undergraduate Research Scholarships or URS program. Lots of different opportunities to say the very least, and I won't be able to delve deep into them in the time that I have today, but there's lots more information, frequently asked questions on our website. So just keep these in mind. And also another sort of pro tip is to, if any of these are of interest to you, make note as soon as possible of sort of what the application timelines are, just so that for your own planning, you can sort of be looking ahead. Even a full year ahead can sometimes be great to make sure that you're in a really strong position whenever the applications come due. On that note, we do have an opportunity that's open right now, which, as I mentioned, is the TRELS program, the Triton Research and Experiential Learning Scholars Program. When I wrap up in just a few minutes with the slides, I'm going to put the application link in the chat for all of you. You can also access more information just on our general homepage, which is TRELS, TRELS.ucsd.edu, which is listed here on the slide. The TRELS program during the academic year offers sort of a quarterly setup where you would apply every quarter that you're interested in participating. You can participate up to 3 different times as a TRELS scholar, so that could be twice in the quarterly program and then once in the summer program. You know, lots of different configurations that students might do. TRELS is very open-ended, where you can pursue not only research as we might traditionally define it, but as I mentioned, creative projects, artistic projects, or public service endeavors. So there's all different kinds of options of what you might pursue. The TRELS program during the academic year comes with a $1,000 scholarship and, of course, the mentorship of working with your faculty mentor. And this is wide open in terms of eligibility. So anybody who's a current UC San Diego student, doesn't matter what your major is, your year, your citizenship status, everybody's eligible to apply. The application deadline is Thursday, August 19th by the end of the day, which is 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. I'd be happy to talk a little bit more during the Q&A about what that application consists of. So let me know if you have questions, but I'll share a little bit more about that, and I'll put the link in the chat as well in just a few moments. A few last words just about other things. So beyond our specific programs, our office also coordinates a range of undergraduate research conferences. The one that's coming up most immediately is the Summer Research Conference, which is the third one highlighted here. That's going to be August 12th and 13th, so just about a couple weeks from right now. That's a great opportunity. All of you are welcome to attend just as attendees. It's free to join. It'll be virtual via Zoom. We'll have our conference program shared soon, so I can share the link to the Summer Research Conference website in the chat in a few moments as well. That's a great opportunity just to see and showcase kind of what's going on with other people who are presenting and working on their projects right now. During the academic year, we also offer similarly the Undergraduate Research Conference, or URC, as well as the online Undergraduate Research Symposium, which is a virtual poster symposium where students share their works in progress using sort of a poster PDF format. We also have conferences that are focused on specific fields. So we like to highlight research that is conducted in the arts, social sciences, and humanities through our CRASH conference, CRASSH. That's a really great opportunity for conversation as well, hosted during the academic year. And also we have the Medical Education for Diverse Students, or MEDS conference, which is particularly targeted at students who are interested in pursuing medical school or other kinds of research-focused degrees in the medical fields. So all of these are great opportunities, and also more info is always available on our website. Aside from the conferences that we offer internally, sort of at UC San Diego, we also encourage students to present their research at other conferences that aren't just here at campus. So one conference that many of our students participate is SACNAS, the Society for Advancement of Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Science. The National Conferences on Undergraduate Research, or NCUR, National Collegiate Research Conference, NCRC, ABRCAM's Annual Biomedical Research Conference for Minority Students, and many, many more. So all of these conferences are super inclusive and empowering spaces, great place to get experience presenting your work. And we find that, again, in other times, students really enjoy traveling sort of in person to these conferences, but even in the past year and a half during the pandemic, when these conferences have been hosted in a virtual capacity, students have found them to be really excellent opportunities to get that experience and to sort of know what an academic conference looks like. Just keep that in mind, that these are opportunities that we can support you through. And also we do offer funding to students who participate in our programs in our office. We can offer some additional funding through an application process, like a few $100s if it's to cover registration expenses, hotels, flights, those kinds of things. Just keep that in mind, that financial and logistical support is available as well. The last piece that I want to highlight before opening up for questions and answers is that the Office of Undergraduate Research is here to support students also in the process of applying for National Competitive Scholarships, what we call NCS. So this is an umbrella term that we classify a group of prestigious and competitive scholarships that are available to students all over the nation. So these are certainly some opportunities that you might have heard of, some that you might not have. We have a full listing of them here. Some that I want to highlight in particular: the Goldwater Scholarship, the Soros Scholarship, Paul and Daisy Soros Fellowship, the NSF, or National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship, all of which I am happy to say have been won by UC San Diego students in the past 2 years or so. And we actually have spotlights of a lot of students who have won these awards also featured on our website. We share this to say that any of you can envision yourselves as being a recipient of one of these awards if it's something you're interested in pursuing. They're all sort of serve different kinds of goals and purposes, pathways. So whether it's, you're interested in pursuing a career in a certain pathway, or pursuing a PhD, going to law school, medical school, there's various scholarships and fellowships available for you. And NCS is kind of the umbrella term that we use to categorize all of those. So our office is here, our staff is aware and knowledgeable about how to support you in applying for these. Just keep that in mind as well, that this is definitely something, if it's a goal for you, we're here to make it a reality as well. So with that, I'm going to open it up for questions. But before I stop sharing my slides, I also just want to share my email address, which is tjrogers@ucsd.edu, as well as the Office of Undergraduate Research research email address, ugresearch@ucsd.com. And then that's also our website homepage, ugresearch.ucsd.edu. So just be aware of that. As I mentioned, the website is a great place to get started, to really spend some time getting familiarized with, what our various opportunities are in any sort of direction you're interested, whether it's a certain academic year, summer opportunity, the conferences that I mentioned, getting resources about projects that students have pursued in recent years. All of that is on our website and available for you as a conversation starter. So with that, you've heard me talk for almost 30 minutes nonstop. So I will shift the energy towards opening up for questions and answers, and happy to engage with all of you.